Welcome, everybody, back to episode number, I believe this is number 6 of Off the Rails podcast with Tone and Jems. Obviously, Jems here. I'm Tone. And today we have special guests with us. Super excited about this one. I've been a fan of his for a long time, since his MTV days, through his VH1 days, IFC days, and on now, obviously, onto the Sirius XM days. Mr. Jim Shearer, how are you doing?
Tone sent me a picture of something that I had sent him from my MTV2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent you a picture of a short order cook.
Yes, I have it right here.
Why did I do that? Did you ask for it?
So I don't know. You probably won't remember it, but my brother is an artist, and I believe he sent you a piece of work, an art, a long time ago, because we were just like fans of yours, huge fans of yours. You kind of were like everything we wanted to be. We loved MTV and we loved music, but we also loved sports and art and all that stuff. And so we saw you and we were like, man, we should really, and we went through this phase where we would send out baseball cards and like all this other stuff. And my brother was like, you know what I should do? I should make art and then send it to people and get it autographed. So I believe he did that for you. I think he might have done an art of you, and then you sent it. I sent you one just to get an autograph, and then you sent me back this thing in this giant package that I also have right here from your MTV2.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Because when I was working at MTV2, I could send out anything like that, and I wouldn't have to pay for postage. It was all paid for by MTV2.
Oh, nice. And so on the back it says, Anthony, here you go. Between me and your brother, you're probably knee deep in art. Word, Jim Shearer. And then I don't know if you remember.
Wait, did your brother send me the picture that was like this?
Maybe.
It was in a black circle?
Probably. That sounds like his style, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then I have a picture of that picture.
Oh, that's awesome. And then in that, you also sent me one of these.
Whoa, my zine.
Yeah, this is the Farewell to 120 Minutes episode or edition.
Wow.
Yeah, so I
Blast
still have
from
it.
the past.
So we're super pumped. I've been a big fan. So I think that thing was stamped like 2003, I think, but we were fans long before then. But yeah,
so that was 17 years ago.
Yeah. So all this time I've been a fan of, and also because, like I said, just because like you kind of like were everything that we were, and we kind of back then. I guess it's a different time. Some of the younger people might not realize, like, you kind of got lumped in one group back then. So you were either the art guy or you were the sports guy or the music guy. And like, we were everything. So you kind of were like the first representation we saw of that on TV.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
So we're brothers from another mother.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. No. So I've always been a huge fan. And when we talked about doing guests on the show, I was like, I kind of always wanted Jim Shearer, and I never had a reason to reach out because I had nothing to do. But then I was like, it'd be super fun to have him on, because this kind of like is exactly that. It's like a little bit of everything, and that's kind of what we wanted. So
I'm happy to be here.
So we're happy to have you, Jim. And then,
but the question, Tone, is Jems happy to have me?
He is super happy to have you. I spent all day today at work watching old YouTube videos, listening. So I turned on your live show today, but was it Thursday's episode on Volume?
Yeah. So it's live on Thursday, and then the replay's on Tuesday.
Okay, because I was like, usually I thought people did Thanksgiving before Thanksgiving.
It was the Thanksgiving episode, which sounded great on Thanksgiving, but the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, it kind of loses the magic.
It was still good. I liked the fall fling, and so that's the third one you guys have done. You did a spring fling, a summer fling.
Did a spring fling, summer fling, and fall fling.
Do you have a different bouncer or security each time?
So Constantine was so good. Constantine Maroulis, who was on American Idol, and he was also a big star on Rock of Ages on Broadway. He was so good on the summer fling, we had him back for the fall fling. But for the first one, we had a different bouncer.
Okay, I liked that. I was thinking it was going to be trivia, which I love trivia, but then the way you guys did that, I just thought that was really neat. It was kind of like Survivor almost.
It was debate style. So for those who didn't catch the post-Thanksgiving episode of the Jim Shearer Show, we had 18 listeners, and it was a music-style debate, and then Constantine Maroulis would cut off contestants until we were down to one.
how did you find those contestants? Did you set them up ahead of time, or did they call on that day?
So there's a group of listeners at SiriusXM Volume who call themselves the Volume Maniacs, and they'll have karaoke nights and trivia nights. So we have all of their emails just because they're so hardcore, and I email them every fling, and then most of them are able to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
But
that was
Jems
super
and
cool.
Tone, you can be in the next fling if you want to. It's not just limited to the Volume Maniacs.
I'm decent at trivia, but I mean, like, I know, like, you are like next level of like musical trivia.
I thought I was until I started working at Volume. So I work with these insane music brainiacs. So I'm not as good as I thought I was.
I don't know. You always bring like the energy though. So it's like it doesn't matter. Like you're a little bit of everything. You're like a jack of all trades.
What I lack in knowledge, I make up for in energy.
I will say that is one of the things that jumped off the page when I first like saw you on the screen. Was I was like, he looks like he actually wants to do his job. Like,
yeah.
and so I find it interesting because me and Jim sort of know how you got to MTV in the first place. But like, do you want to tell the Cliff's Notes version of how you got that job?
So I moved to New York City in 2001, and MTV2 was my favorite channel because it showed nothing but music videos. And they had a casting call for VJs, which was my dream job. And actually, prior to that, I had sent homemade audition tapes to MTV2 wanting to be a VJ. And I sucked on the first audition, but because of that tape I think I had originally sent, someone said, "Oh, you should look at this Shearer guy." And they said, "Yeah, we did. He wasn't that good." And I'm like, "Well, give him another shot." And then I was better on my second audition. I did better on my third audition. And it was this whole thing where they'd bring me in and have me interview MTV talent. The whole process took 7 months, but eventually I got a job to introduce music videos on MTV2 at 7:00 in the morning,
which was awesome. That's when I was like still awake from the night before watching. But I think it was because we're huge podcast nerds too, by the way. So I went back and listened, and I had already listened to one of my favorite podcasts, but the Going Off Track podcast, where you kind of like told the story, but you were like, I love your ingenuity of like you called and then you like figured out the lady's name and then you tricked her into.
Yes. Yeah. So that, and the deeper part of the story, I had called for an audition and they said they were all filled up. And then I called again and no one picked up, but I think her name was Jamie. It went to her voicemail and she said, "Hey, I'm Jamie. Sorry, I'm not here. Leave a message." So I kept calling until I got Jamie. And then when Jamie was finally on, I said, "Oh yeah, Jamie, I spoke with you and you said I could have an audition. Like, when do you want me to come in?" And she said, yeah, just come in 3:00 on Tuesday."
That's awesome. Like, I mean, because like for us, like, I mean, I think that's me and Jems, especially, we've had conversations where we're like I just kind of want to do something I really care about. And you'd kind of almost do anything to make that happen. And on the fly, was that an on the fly decision, or was that like hey, like if I call back, I'm gonna do this? Like,
well, I was determined to get an audition by any means necessary. So when I had the number, that's all I needed, because I was going to keep calling and calling and calling until I got that audition.
That's awesome. We love the push. And now it's brought you full circle all the way to a 17, 18, 20-year career now, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing to think about. When I say it now, when I tell people that I used to get paid money to introduce music videos on television, it sounds like fantasy.
It's I wish it was still a thing, because Jems, when I told him like we kind of locked down the time for this, he's like cool. And then like the next day he was like, MTV is playing 36 hours straight of ridiculousness right now. And I was like, what happened?
It was like the program director was like, what are we going to do for Thanksgiving weekend? Fuck it, we'll pay Rob.
Yeah. Yeah. So we wish we still had. I found some of my favorite bands from you on Subterranean and MTV 120 Minutes and all that kind of stuff. And some of my favorite memories are because of those bands, like driving to Denny's at like 4:00 in the morning with my brother, jamming out to Tegan and Sarah, which we were introduced to from you.
Wow. So how old are you, Tone?
So I'm 37. I'll be 38 in May.
Okay. Who's
So-
your favorite band?
Someone you've interviewed. I was actually going to bring it up. I have a tattoo of it on my back of my arm. It's a DC for Dashboard Confession.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So I have 2 musical tattoos. One of them's lyrics from a buddy of mine named Carter Holsey. He lives in Nashville and he does like Americana like rock stuff. And it's like, so I love music and I'd like to have it represented on me. So Dashboard was my band.
You should get Chris Carrabba on your podcast.
I would love to. I have to find a way to get into his contacts, but that's definitely one of the dream goals to have him on. I mean, he's definitely like one of my favorite all time. So
is he doing okay? Did you hear he got into a motorcycle accident?
It seems like he's putting out more music, or like he put out a holiday song and cover, and then it seems like he's recovering well. I from what I gather, I mean, I guess it's still rough going. I guess he messed up both shoulders, couldn't play guitar, so I guess he's probably learning how to redo a lot of that stuff. But it was pretty bad from what I gather, from what I read online. So
he told me a story recently because he lives down in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And he said it was him, the guys of Newfound Glory and Yellow Card, just hanging out on a street corner. And somebody passed them. And they said it was someone from, the emo era who would appreciate those 3 groups standing together in Nashville. And they did a double take, kind of shook their head, and then kept on walking down the street. Almost like they didn't believe that Dashboard Confessional, Newfound Glory, and Yellow Card would all be in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right. That'd be it'd be nuts. Like all 3 of those bands, big bands in my era. But wild. I mean, I could imagine you're probably just like, no, that's not happening. I guess
it looks like them, but it couldn't be. Why would they all be here in Tennessee?
Right. There's a bunch of people who live out there, like in Franklin and stuff. Like
everyone lives in Tennessee now. We should move to Tennessee.
We could probably start a band, and then we could.
I'm down.
Go there. Well, you play bass. I play guitar. Jems, I don't know if he's got pipes of but
I'll figure it out. I play the triangle or something, or cymbals. I don't know.
We can teach you the drums, Jems.
I'm always drumming on stuff, so I probably have it in me.
We'll figure it out. But
Definitely.
My favorite Chris Carrabba story is that one of his distant relatives actually owns the Carrabba's franchise.
Yeah. And he got I think he got noticed in a Carrabba's.
Yeah, so he went to a Carrabba's, and at the end of the meal, he put his credit card on the table, and they saw Carrabba, and then they put it all together, and they're like, oh, damn, like this is Chris Carrabba at a Carrabba's. Talk about a meta moment, and then they ran him out all this swag. Like I think they brought him like a hat and an apron and a shirt.
That's awesome. Dude,
he got the hookup.
That's got to be a meta moment. You're like, I'm at a Carrabba's in a Carrabba's, and I'm Carrabba and Carrabba's. I mean, yes. Like it's Inception. But yeah, no, I love music. I'm a big music fan. So I remember watching your interview. Yeah, it was like an in studio interview for you, like when you did the recent one. You were already at Sirius at that point, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember watching that. I was like, man, that's cool. Jim Shearer is with Chris Carrabba. Now we have Jim Shearer here in our podcast,
and we had him sing the hook to Smash Mouth's All-Star.
Yeah. Over, because there was a guy who was doing all of those different songs over Smash Mouth All-Star.
You need to get him on your podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we might. We just had another viral legend, onside kicker, Chainsaw Lennon, and it was awesome. He was the guest before you.
Whoa! So, yeah, his name is John Sudano, and he will play any song, but despite the song that's being played, he will sing the hook of All-Star on top of it.
That's all. I mean, it goes with everything. I mean, so I guess I'll transition. I'll be honest with you too. Literally, about 45 minutes ago, when I was starting to get into, I had already prepped, but I was getting ready to get into podcast mode. I was told my wife, I was I've done I did 20 episodes of my other podcast. We've done now. This is 11 technically. We did 5 under a different name, and then I've produced podcasts. I told my wife, I was this is the first time I've been nervous to do a podcast.
Why?
Because you're a hero. You're part of the reason why I've even found interest in this space a long time ago. So it's I was man, it's really cool. So this is a big moment for me, a watershed moment. So
hey,
but
I'm happy to hear that.
And you're my favorite interviewer. So to interview your favorite interviewer is kind of weird. So it's because I'm like, you're so good at it and you're so conversational.
Is it like being a Carrabba and eating at a Carrabba's?
Exactly. It's exactly like that. It's a meta moment. So I'm gonna try to do this terrible like transition to you're a wiffle ball guy, and we have a wiffle ball Hall of Famer here in Jems. Is that like a big? I'm from Michigan originally. I live in Colorado now. Jems is in Indiana. You are from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And is that like a big? Is wiffle ball big in that area? Is that like a
wiffle ball in my neighborhood was everything. It's all we did all summer long was play wiffle ball in my backyard. And then when I got older, we would have a wiffle ball classic every year where we would play a huge wiffle ball game. And then afterwards, bands would play in my garage.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, Tone, you would love this.
That would be
Jems would love it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Up here, I mean, I grew up playing wiffle ball, but I think it was my junior year of high school, me and one of my buddies on the team, who he actually built he calls it Migley Field in his backyard. So it's like a mini Wrigley. So we started a league where we had like 8 teams and we'd play throughout the summer, just playing each other. And that was 2007. And I think the league just had its like 13th year this year. I don't play anymore because 3 kids and the wife don't leave a ton of time for that. But a couple years before that, what gave us the idea for the league was that Kobe had started a tournament. There's like a local fest every year called Hometown Days. And he started a tournament. And the first year it had like 12, 15 teams or something. We're like, we should do a league. So we started a league and that grew. I think there's like 14 teams in it now or something. But the tournament now has upwards of 70 to 80 teams every July. So every year, it's a huge deal in like the area.
But it's a whole season?
Yeah, the tournament and the season, or the tournament and the league, are separate. I mean, the teams all play in both of them, but at the end of July every year during the Hometown Days, he puts on a tournament with, I think last year it was 70 teams, which was down because of the pandemic, but we've played in it with upwards of 80 teams. Teams will come. There's been a team from Canada. Teams come from a bunch of different states. There's a Minnesota team there this year.
I want to come.
I have a spot for you.
Wait,
if you ever want to come.
How long is the tournament? Is it a weekend?
Yeah, it's a weekend. It starts Saturday. Round robin on Saturday.
So here's a very important question. We played wiffle ball in grad school, and the way the buildings were set up, it almost looked like Tiger Stadium.
Nice.
Because there was a deck which it hung over the field, so you could hit it up onto the deck for an automatic home run. But if you missed the deck, then it would just kind of hit one of the doors. So the field looked awesome. So we had people from all over the United States live in our housing complex for grad school. And we got out the one day and we started playing wiffle ball. And they pitched the ball and I hit it and I ran to first base. And that started the controversy because half of the people there said, there's no running in wiffle ball. And then the other half said, of course there's running in wiffle ball. It's just like baseball, except you play with a wiffle ball. So what do you say?
There is running in wiffle ball. We run the bases. Unless you don't run, then you don't have to run it.
See? So you run. Tone, do you run?
I would run. I've never played an official wiffle ball game other than like Ghost Man on third with my brother in the front yard because we.
Well, no, that counts.
But so yeah, so the definitely running, definitely for sure. Then
okay, so we ran, and then half of the people didn't want to play because they're like, no, if you hit it past a certain point, it's a double, and if you hit it off that thing, it's a triple. I'm like, that's no fun.
No, you got to play it.
That takes away pegging people, which is like the best part of wiffle ball.
Yeah.
All right. So, question about ghost runners.
Yeah.
And do either of you follow Super 70 Sports on Twitter?
It sounds familiar. I probably do.
Okay.
I've seen it.
So, if you like sports and pop culture, it's the best Twitter feed on the internet.
Sweet.
But he was on my show and we were talking about ghost runners. So let me give you this scenario. There's a ghost runner on second base. Okay. Someone's up at the plate and they hit a ball into right field. And the person who hits it runs to first. Does the ghost runner advance to third or does the ghost runner stay on second?
I think the Ghost Runner stays until he's forced to the next base.
That's what we played in my neighborhood.
Oh.
So the Ghost Runner can only run on a force.
I mean, that makes sense though. I can see that way. Me and my brother would play full blown Ghost. Like it was just 1-on-1. So like, I mean, we would always advance. The runner would advance
on any hit.
Yeah. So like in baseball, we would play you if I got a single out into the outfield, that guy's definitely going to third. So we kind of played with that logic.
So now, could you look back a Ghost Runner? So say if for whatever reason there's a Ghost Runner on third, and you're hit the ball, can you say, look? I think we used to say looks at third if it happened before the runner got to first base.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I would totally go.
Looks at third, looks at second. So you could look back a Ghost Runner.
Yeah, for sure. You just gotta scare the ghost, you know. By the way, that could be a band name. By the way, that could be a band.
What about pegging? Peg in the head? Can you peg in the head?
It's supposed to be shoulders and below.
Shoulders
to try to
below.
avoid pegging in the face.
All right. What about leading off bases?
We do not do that.
So we said you could lead and you could only steal if the pitcher attempt to get you out. So I could either throw to first or I could try to peg you at first. And once I threw the ball, then you could go to second base on a steal.
I like it, but yeah, we didn't do that. But I like that idea.
So what about no leadoff? So what if someone swung and you accidentally got off first or second base? You're not out, right?
I would think if they're lingering off the base, you would be able to peg them. So I guess I don't know.
No, because in gym class for kickball, I think if we ever left the base for whatever reason, we were out.
That makes sense for gym class and stuff, but I don't think we, I don't know if we've had the scenario. I think if they're off the base, you can peg them. So it's live no matter what.
Okay. But you're saying no leadoffs though?
No.
Okay.
But if they step off the base, they're fair game.
By the way,
so
I would absolutely
technically you could lead off. I don't think anybody does it though.
I'd absolutely love leadoffs in wiffle ball, being that we both pitched and we're both left-handed. I feel like I have an advantage.
Right, same.
I'll pick them off.
Did you have any ground rules where you played growing up?
If it gets stuck in the ivy, this is at Migley where we'd play like just not league or tournament. Just
you actually had ivy?
He planted ivy. He's like, it was legit. I'll have to send you pictures.
Wait. This is good. Off the tree. Can you catch it off the tree, or is it like catching it off the wall?
If you catch it off the tree, it would be an out, I think is what we did. Each field had their own ground rules, but I always liked if the tree's in play, it's just live. It's not like a dead ball or anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So we could play that. We could be friends then.
For sure.
Yeah. Come to New Carlisle, Indiana at the end of July, and there'll be a spot for you
give me the info, and if the schedule permits, I'll bring a squad.
Perfect.
I'll set up a group DM.
He usually does like a ceremonial first pitch. You could probably be the ceremonial first pitcher.
That is what I'm talking about.
I would be honored.
That would well. I mean that wouldn't probably be the highlight of your life, but as another terrible transition, you doing your job and doing an awesome job at interviewing people. I know you're a huge Beastie Boys fan. You got to interview them. Obviously got to interview my favorite artist. Jems, I don't even know who your favorite artist is, but Jems probably interviewed them.
I'm not even sure who. I listened to a bunch of different stuff, so I don't think I have any, like.
I did interview Kelly Clarkson too.
Yes. So
you're covered, Jems.
You're covered.
Did I freeze there pretty good? Because I was lagging bad on this.
Yeah, a little bit. Not terrible though. No. So I was gonna say, so that brought me into, obviously I know Beastie Boys are your favorite band. You did get to do a bunch of interviews with them and stuff like that. Outside of them, is there anyone that still gets you like a little bit like, or do you even get nervous at all, like interviewing any bands that you run across?
It's funny that you said that, because I just interviewed the lead singer of one of my favorite bands this afternoon.
Oh wow.
Greg Atenito from the Bouncing Souls.
Oh, wow.
But I wasn't nervous. I'm trying to think about the last time I was nervous. I mean, I could get nervous. So you put me with the right person, and I would absolutely get nervous.
Do you feel more? I guess this is like how my brain works. Do you get more nervous interviewing somebody that you aren't necessarily like a huge fan of, or like have a wealth of knowledge of their career and songs? Not necessarily that's the case, or someone that you know all of their stuff inside and out.
So if I grew up listening to them, that's when I get more nervous.
Okay.
So I could love a band, but if I fell in love with them 8 years ago, then I'm not going to get nervous.
Gotcha.
But I interviewed Sting a couple of years ago, and I felt the butterflies.
I can imagine. I mean, that's crazy. Like, I mean, some of the artists I was going through, some of them, I was going to make a list and be like, which one of these, but like, I mean, you've literally interviewed everybody, it seems like at this point. Like, not everybody, or is there, I guess that leads to another good question. Is there anyone that you haven't interviewed that you would love to interview?
I would love to interview Madonna. I would love to interview U2. I'd love to interview anyone from Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm down with that.
And I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, because for my favorites, I've interviewed the Beastie Boys. I've met Dave Grohl. I got to interview him. I met Chris Novoselic. Got to interview Chuck D from Public Enemy. So I've taken care of my favorites. I've got to interview Weezer.
Nice. That's an interesting one. We love Weezer, but we don't have it confirmed yet. But at some point, we have made some contact with the bassist of Weezer, and we might have him on this.
Scott Schreiner.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good get.
Well, I got a second foster kid last Wednesday, so I Googled like famous people that have fosters or have adopted children, and he was on the list, and I was like, well, I like Weezer. So then I DM'd him, and he said we'd touch base again. We'd touch base this week. I haven't heard anything yet, so hopeful, but
not confirmed, but we'll get him. Well, you know.
You can,
super cool.
You can throw a name around. I don't know if it has any leverage.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, everyone loves Jim Shearer.
You'd be like, he interviewed you once.
I was gonna say it's funny because we were when Jems told me, I was like, man, that's cool. I was like, Matt Sharp's my favorite bass player ever from Weezer, but I mean, Weezer music always puts me in a good mood.
Tone, have you seen the Saturday Night Live skit with Leslie Jones? Is that right? And Matt Damon about Weezer?
No, I haven't. How did I miss this?
You need hilarious. To go on YouTube to see that.
Okay, I'm definitely checking that out then. That's sweet. That's so cool. Like, no. So speaking of bassists, you play bass.
I play bass and guitar.
Yeah, and
not well, but
no, really awesome. Literally since about 2. Well, I recorded another podcast earlier, but in between the day, I've listened to Figure 4 about 700 times today. So by your band, Deck of Jack.
Yes.
So love it. And then
you really did your research tonight.
Well, I'm a fan too, but like I was like, it was great because like, and Jems even mentioned it like earlier. We were kind of going back and forth. I was like, I love Jim and I love everything you've done. I've kind of kept up with your career, but then like even in like researching, I was like, I found out so much more stuff about you. Like I knew about the sports show that you have, like about the Steelers and the Penguins. By the way, I'm wearing a hockey shirt today.
Nice.
So awesome. This is actually another podcast called That's Hockey Talk. It's actually hosted by Nick Moraldo, who is also a big Penguins fan. So you should go on that show. That would be great. And then so but I did have a question about your sports show. The intro where it's like Yinz love, ping, whatever.
Yes.
Love, and it's like, did you do all that artwork? Because I know you are an artist. It's so cool.
I did do the artwork for that.
Did you do the video? Do the video editing and all the stop motion stuff? I don't know if that's actually stop motion, but
so it's just like cardboard figures, and I'm sort of gliding them across the screen, but you can't see my hand.
Yeah. Now is that something that because that's like something I think like a lot of people who, if you know Jim Shearer, you're like, oh, music, all that art piece, you're so good at it. Like, is it anything that you've ever like thought of like making like a coffee table book, or have you done exhibits? Like, have you done anything like that with your?
I've had one art show in my life.
Okay.
My friend, she owns a gift store in Pittsburgh called Wild Card. Okay. And for the first couple of years, every month they would feature an artist. So I said, hey, Becky, you think I could get an art show? And she's like, sure. So it was for the month of April. So I just had a whole bunch of portraits of Pittsburgh Pirates on the wall.
Nice.
And it was cool because it was a brick wall. So I made it look like the wall at Forbes Field.
Oh, sweet. Is that I was on your Twitter earlier today. Is that the Pittsburgh cartoon ones? Was that your art?
I think it's somewhere on my Instagram. Like if you scroll through my Instagram, you'll see all the pirate pictures I did for that art show.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, because like one of my favorite I just realized I think that I should have been born in the city of Pittsburgh probably because like you're my favorite like interviewer, VJ, all of that kind of stuff. I love Pat McAfee, one of my favorite. He's a Pittsburgh guy.
Yes.
Roberto Clemente is one of my all-time favorite baseball players. I mean, I probably should have just been born in Pittsburgh.
Did you see there was a video recently on the internet where Eddie Vedder says that the Roberto Clemente Museum in Pittsburgh is one of his favorite places in the entire world?
No, I didn't see that. That's awesome, though.
Wow. He's at a ton of Cubs games, too. Eddie Vedder is always there.
Yes. So the fact that he likes the Cubs and the fact that he's been all over the world, but he said with a straight face, this is one of my favorite places in the entire world.
I feel like Eddie Vedder has made it like I like Pearl Jam. They're not like my favorite band, but I do love Pearl Jam, like, good music. Yeah. But like as I've noticed that he's is a baseball guy, I've grown to like him even more. And like I know we see him a lot. So my wife's a huge Cubs fan. I'm a Tigers fan. My wife's a huge Cubs fan. We named our son after a Hall of Fame Cub player. So his name's Ryan Sandberg. It's RYNE. So we named him after that. People mess his name up all the time. So absolutely love baseball, and I've gotten even more into Eddie Vedder knowing that he's a baseball guy.
Yeah,
so it works. But that's
so
cool.
Are both of you Lions fans?
We are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work?
We're the only two in the world, so that's how we connected on Twitter.
So literally, the first 5 episodes that are now gone, we erased them into the ether. We started this podcast as L is for Lions. That was the name of this podcast because we always get L's and we are Lions fans. And then we realized that we would talk about the Lions for about 15 minutes and then we just go off on these various tangents. And we were like, we got to rebrand because like it's much more. I don't know this, but like we're dreadful Lions fans. And so we text each other every Sunday and we're like, oh, we expect to lose. Like, we do daily fantasy sports too. So we're like, let's play everybody that's playing the Lions because they're probably going to have a big game, that kind of thing. But speaking of football and you being from Pittsburgh, the Steelers are having an amazing season.
Yeah. So right now we're 10-0. Yeah. Whenever you're listening to this podcast, and I still don't know exactly when we're going to play the Ravens. It's been moved so many different times.
We had a short conversation where Jems was like, I think the Steelers are playing on Tuesday. Is Jim still going to be able to do it? And I was like, I don't know, but it might change. And then it changed.
It was supposed to happen on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And they moved it to Sunday afternoon. Then to Tuesday, and now Wednesday afternoon. They don't want to air it Wednesday night because it'll interfere with the tree lighting on NBC. So I think right now, if they don't cancel it altogether, we're going to have a Wednesday afternoon football game.
Which would be dope. I mean, that's kind of,
that's
awesome. I'm off Wednesday, so I'll take it.
Because I had to look at my calendar. I'm like, can I watch a Wednesday? I'm like, I think I can.
Yeah. It's well, and then they were supposed to play Thursday, so that game got moved back. I think, or the Ravens were supposed to play Thursday. So that game there's no Thursday game this week either.
I think the Steelers are going to play Monday after this game, and then the Ravens are playing Tuesday. But they made the Broncos play with no quarterback.
Yeah.
But they keep pushing back this game.
They said because the Broncos quarterbacks were not following protocol.
Which makes sense.
So they brought that upon themselves. And then Mother Nature and happenstance is why the Baltimore Ravens got COVID.
Oh, I think their strength coach got fined or something for not following protocols, I believe.
No, wait, who?
I think the Ravens strength coach got fined or something for not following protocols and infecting the entire team.
And a couple teams lost a draft pick.
Yeah, I think probably the Raiders. I'm going to guess because
The Raiders, and there was one recently that just lost a 7th round draft pick.
Should have been the Titans. They were screwed up way early.
Yeah, they I think they screw up against the Steelers, right?
So we had to wait on that one too.
Yeah, that's wild, man. You guys, I saw a stat yesterday. I think it was during the Seahawks game that the Seahawks are the only team that hasn't had a single positive test all year.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, whatever the Seahawks are doing, I don't know.
Yeah, that's great.
But
because it rains all the time in Seattle, so they're stuck inside.
But so kind of like speaking of COVID, that's kind of like the era we're in. So this is like we've been doing this for a little bit throughout the last year in various forms of different other people's friends' podcasts and stuff like that. Video chatting because it works best for us. But has that been a weird transition for you to have to do stuff from home and video chats instead of in person? Does that affect your interviewing style? And
it doesn't affect my interviewing style, but I wonder what it'll do for relationships. Because when you meet someone face to face, you have more of a connection. So I'm just wondering, bands that I meet and talk with over the internet, if we'll still have that connection 2 years from now. If I bump into them, will they remember me, or am I just another face in a square? Like when I come to play wiffle ball with you guys, will you remember me?
Well, I mean, I have a picture. I have a picture from 2003 that you sent me, so I think I'm going to remember you, Joe. I think I'll definitely remember you.
Are you still doing the nightly dance parties on your balcony?
No. So we did that when everyone was in strict quarantine, and it was at 7:00 where everyone would get out on their balconies or their stoops or their fire escapes and cheer for the frontline workers. So it just felt like it needed some type of crescendo. So after everyone cheered, then I would play music for an hour and a half.
That's awesome.
And then when the quarantine ended, that's when the dance parties ended. But they could always come back. I don't want them to come back because it means we're in lockdown, but they could come back.
You could probably just do it randomly, like a special occasion.
I did do one a couple of weeks ago when there was a major announcement in national politics.
Hey, I mean, you got to celebrate somehow, right? No, we absolutely loved it. Jems actually sent that to me, and I was like, and I think the text underneath that, I do have my phone right here, but I'll just make up what was said because it's pretty dang close. Was I think I didn't think Jim could get any cooler. Jim got cooler. Like it was like I mean that's the cool thing is like everything you do is like just like super cool, and we enjoy. Like I feel like I could be your friend, like literally, like yes. I'm like I want to be your friend. Like that's the kind of and that's what we need more of, honestly. On like people doing stuff, but we definitely enjoy it, like your stuff, everything.
I'll look you up when I come to the D next time.
For sure. Yeah, you should. Yeah, I mean it's super fun. I'm not in Detroit though, but
so wait, where are you at now?
I'm in Colorado, a little bit south of Denver. I guess it technically almost still.
My old college roommate lives in Golden.
Oh, nice. That's a nice beer town.
So nice. I could end up in Colorado at some point.
Heck yeah, man. Well, if you ever do, you look me up and we'll at that point, hopefully, because you're traveling at that point, so maybe we can go to.
What if I let you down though?
No, you're not gonna let me down, dude. Like this has already been so cool. Like I don't think you could let me down. I literally I was like everything. I mean, you're an artist. You're energetic. You're no music. You know sports. I feel like we could have a conversation for hours.
Yes, we could.
And then I know also something we do on this, and I prepped Jems and I prepped you. Something we do on this, but you are the first guest to have done this with us. We're gonna do a draft.
Let's do it.
And it's something else that I know you love, which is pizza.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do pizza toppings. So we do a serpentine draft. So pick 1 gets pick 6 in this scenario. Pick 3 gets pick 4. So as you being the guest, and we've never had one, we're going to allow you to pick what spot you are going to draft in. So there's some strategy.
I like how you called it a serpentine draft. Some people call it a snake draft.
I do too. I like the serpentine though. Serpentine.
I feel like it would be kind of cocky to come on your podcast and demand that I get the first draft pick. So I'm gonna go number 2.
Okay, that's a good one. Jems, I will allow you to pick the other spot just because I I don't really care at this point. At this one, I feel like I have a wealth of pizza topping knowledge.
I'll take 3. I want the back to back right off the bat.
I got the one pick I didn't want, but it's cool. No, no. All right. So starting off, I guess I have to ask because it's the only rule I didn't think of earlier. Does cheese count as a topping, or is that we're already just assuming it's got sauce and cheese on it?
I say extra cheese counts as a topping.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so that's fair game. I'm gonna go with the classic pepperoni. I'm gonna take pepperoni off the board. One, I feel like it's been good since elementary school. We've watched it grow, and it's a staple.
Question for you, Tone.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the smaller pepperonis better than the bigger pepperonis?
So I do like the smaller pepperonis because they tend to flip up.
Yeah,
I like that.
And they get that little puddle of grease in there.
Burnt edge. I do as a randomness. I've done the keto diet, lost a lot of weight on it. One of my favorite things was to stick pepperonis on a baking sheet and just bake them, and they turn into chips.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, are you going smaller pepperonis?
Yeah, I'm gonna take smaller pepperonis. Yeah, I'll take.
So is all pepperoni then off the board?
No, I think large pepperoni is still on the board. I'll take it. We'll take it.
Well, so there's small pepperonis.
Yeah.
There's regular sized pepperonis, and then some pizza places use the deli sized pepperoni.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I was thinking large was like the medium sized one. I guess.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. The same thing.
So I feel like that's anything bigger than that's a little too big.
Right, I would agree with that. So, are there 3 rounds in this?
So we typically go 5 rounds.
5 rounds. Okay. I'm just all right.
Yeah, I guess I should have informed you on the rules.
No, I think you probably did say that. So I'm gonna go with sausage.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a fennel sausage. I don't know if any of you have ever made it out to New Haven and have had Frank Pepe's pizza or Sally's pizza.
I've never made
Their sausage is phenomenal, and it's not the crumbly sausage. It's sort of. I don't think Pepe's uses it's more of a sliced sausage.
Oh, okay.
And it's
like
a
fennel, like a patty? Like a sausage patty?
Not a patty.
Not
it's
like
almost
big,
like it comes off a link and they slice it diagonally. So I'm going to go fennel sausage, crumbly sausage still on the board.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
The reason I took 3 and 4, because my favorite pizza is sausage and mushroom, so I figured I'd be able to get those back to back. So I guess I will take crumbly sausage,
which isn't bad.
No, I love sausage. I'm probably in the minority, but like going out for breakfast, like given the choice sausage or bacon, I always choose sausage patties.
Sausage all day, bro.
No, it's a great pick, and then you get the 4th pick.
Mushrooms were my absolute favorite, but I would have a plain sausage pizza over a plain mushroom pizza, I think.
Oh yeah. What kind of mushrooms?
I would guess it's just this. Oh, I mean, my favorite mushroom is the morel, but like on a pizza, it would just be like the mini portobellos.
Okay. The baby Bella?
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Sorry, I'm an amateur here.
No, that's good. That was going to be one of my picks.
I've said it on here before, but I have kind of a hillbilly palate, so my toppings are probably fairly basic.
But you wouldn't want the canned mushrooms.
I mean, I would take them, but no.
But I mean, you don't. But the baby Bellas were still on the board,
right? Yeah, right.
You should take the baby Bella. You made a good pick.
That's what. Yeah, baby Bella.
All right, so I'm going to go with roasted red peppers as my next pick.
Nice.
Those are the ones where you take the red pepper, stick it in the oven, you broil it until the skin comes off. And then you've got yourself a roasted red pepper with a little bit of oil and a little bit of salt on it.
That's a solid choice. Solid. I mean, peppers. You can't go wrong with peppers. I don't know. So those are like the more like they're not as you don't have a crisp to them.
No crisp.
Okay. That's a solid choice. My picks, I guess 6 and 7. Sweet. I'm gonna go chicken. I don't know if you guys have ever had chicken on a pizza. Very solid. Solid chicken. I'm gonna go grilled chicken. I guess that would be the.
So is that on a regular red sauce pizza?
I would go red sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just asking.
And my next pick is going to explain why I'm going to say red sauce. So with the seventh pick, I'm going to take the underrated tomato because my wife is allergic to tomatoes. So it's very hard for me to actually get a full sauce pizza. So if I'm going to have a pizza myself, we're going to have a lot of tomatoes on this thing. Yeah.
So is that including the sauce?
Yeah. Red sauce, everything. Yeah.
Sliced tomatoes?
I'm going to take slice. I like slice. I like the bigger tomatoes in that sense. Yeah. Sliced tomatoes.
Tomatoes on tomatoes.
By the way, until your wife is allergic to tomatoes, you don't realize how much stuff tomatoes is in.
It's in everything.
Yeah. Yeah, wild.
So am I up next?
You are up next with the 8th pick.
So for my 3rd round draft pick, I'm going to go with Kalamata olives.
Oh, nice.
As I get older, I feel myself appreciating the Kalamata more than the black olive.
Nice. I can't say that I've ever had that on a pizza.
It's good.
I'm gonna have to
that with some onions, some peppers, and maybe some sausage.
Like, yeah, man.
Don't cheat yourself, Tome.
Hey,
live life.
I will tell. There's anything mayonnaise is like my one no go. I can't. It will ruin food for me. The only way you could probably get me to try it is put it on a pizza. Probably. I mean,
So I didn't realize until recently. This is just on the mayo thing that he said. Like growing up, I always just thought Miracle Whip and mayonnaise were the same thing. I just thought Miracle Whip was a brand of it until my wife was. They asked us somewhere, "Do you want mayo or Miracle Whip?" And I was like, "Aren't they the same thing?" Like, no. What is wrong with you? Like, she was just very anti Miracle Whip, but.
What is the difference? Because I know Miracle Whip is less eggy.
I think it's got like I don't know if a sweet or a tang to it, kind of. I think Miracle Whip. It's a dressing of some sort. I guess mayonnaise is probably considered a dressing, but
yeah, I don't know what the difference would be. I know I don't like either of them though.
Maybe my wife's just weird. Maybe there isn't a difference. I don't know.
No, I think there is. I've definitely heard of there being a difference. Which actually part of me wants to segue this real quick. Since you are from Pittsburgh, are you a Heinz guy?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
I figured, but
yes,
I had to go there. So Jems got the 9th and 10th pick, man.
Chicken, but well, you already did grilled chicken.
I did grilled chicken though. You could.
I don't know which type it would be because I think it's grilled chicken. So I guess I'll go with bacon instead of chicken because I'm going with the chicken bacon ranch style.
Okay, so you're going bacon, huh?
So if ranch is considered a topping, would we go with ranch as a topping, or does the sauce not count?
I think it would count.
Yeah, I think that counts. Yeah,
it's put on top of a pizza.
I know. My kids dip their pizza in ranch. So
right, so does mine. Then ranch. Ranch is what I want.
Okay.
See, ranch is to me what mayonnaise is to Tone.
It's also to me.
Okay, yeah. I don't understand the appeal of ranch dressing.
I only say it's not mayonnaise because if some ranch gets on it, I can wipe the ranch off and still eat the food. But if mayonnaise is on it, it's done. It's just no, I can't.
Wow. Yeah, for me, no ranch, and I don't like sour cream either in life.
I'm with you on that too.
Is it just white dressing?
No, because I like mayonnaise.
I guess that is white.
Yeah.
I'm colorblind.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't think white's technically not a color; it's a void of color. So
off white.
No. So ranch was your 9th pick, or the 9th pick. So you running it back with the 10th pick.
No, I did bacon and then ranch.
Oh, you're doing bacon. Okay.
Bacon and ranch.
So bacon was your 3rd round pick.
Yes.
And ranch was your. Okay, got you.
So it's back up to me.
It is.
All right. So my 4th round draft pick would be meatballs.
Oh, so good.
A good meatball. I'm not talking about a frozen meatball that's chopped up and thrown onto a pizza.
Do you want
homemade?
Do you want them whole or chopped up? You do want them chopped up?
I like them sliced a little.
Okay, got you. I've had them both ways, so that's why.
Whole meatballs?
Yeah, it was a thicker crust pizza, but I mean,
okay.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah,
they were kind of like pushed into it a little bit, so they were like half hidden.
Okay.
Like a deep dish?
Kind of, sort of, but it wasn't a deep dish pizza, but it was like just really thick crust. But yeah,
sliced meatballs.
Okay, sweet, sounds good. Oh man, I'm enjoying this so much that I didn't even think of the next picks, but we're gonna go on the fly here. You know, it's underrated, and we haven't had a lot of it on here. I'm gonna go with a little heat and go jalapenos.
Wow,
I like the jalapenos.
All right. So do you get another pick, or is it back to me?
I get one more pick. This is my last pick, and then I start the round of our last pick, I guess. So,
okay.
So what else do I like? Man, okay. So I got pepperoni, I got chicken, I got tomatoes, I got jalapenos. I do like meat, so I might have to go some sort of protein here. Let's do ground beef. I'm gonna take some ground beef.
There's a pizza place in my neighborhood. I live in a Dominican neighborhood in New York City.
Okay.
And there's a pizza place that puts ground beef on pizza, and I think they call it chimmy.
Oh, that makes sense.
The chimmy pie.
Huh.
So you would like the chimmy pie if you ever came to my neighborhood.
Heck yeah, man. I'm gonna have to, and then if I'm there, I'll hit you up. And then
hit me up. Yeah, we'll go eat pizza. I've got like a list of my favorite places.
Heck yeah, dude. I would. You can't go wrong with pizza, so I would love to just take a pizza.
We'll go on a pizza tour. All right. So to review my picks, first round draft pick, sliced fennel sausage. Number 2 was roasted red peppers. Number 3, Kalamata olives. Number 4, meatballs. Number 5, just going with the classic, keeping it kind of healthy, basil.
That's lit.
Couple basil leaves, not too minty, like a nice sweet basil sprinkled over the pie to finish it off.
I didn't even think of that one, but that is a solid choice. That's a late round sleeper. That's a good one. So, which is surprisingly what the Steelers do. They get good value late round. We just Lions blow every draft pick we have. So mine would probably
someone came up to me a couple of years ago and we were talking about the Steelers.
Yeah.
And they said, whoever drafts wide receivers for the Steelers is really good at their job.
1,000%. By the way, like I actually literally just had this discussion with, so I produce another podcast. It's called the Man to Man podcast.
How many podcasts do you have, Tone?
I'm not on it. I just produced that one.
Okay.
But it's with Antoine Bethea, who played in the NFL, and Darius Butler played in the NFL. Actually, surprising, Antoine Bethea actually went to Denby High School, which is where Mike Tomlin went in Virginia, Newport News, Virginia. We were actually having that conversation, and I was like, that Mike Wallace, Plaxico Burress, Santonio Holmes. I mean, Hines Ward. I wasn't even naming the good ones.
Antonio Brown.
Juju. You guys had like 7,000. The Bugatti boys. You guys were just like, yeah. It was. You had so many, and then they just like they're like, we got like 4 years out of you guys later. Like
Emmanuel Sanders,
the new kid, the Maple
Claypool. Yeah, Claypool.
Oh, he's so good. He went to Notre Dame, which is where this guy likes to root for.
Right. I'm like 15 minutes from campus, so.
So now that we derailed your last pick, Jems.
I would say off the rail the last pick.
Yeah, off the rail. Yes, that's right.
So, my growing up in high school, we would go to CC's, which is garbage pizza, but that's hold on, it's garbage pizza. I know.
Jim's like, I'm leaving the podcast.
No, that's like an inside joke with my family.
And
whenever we talk about the worst thing ever, we're like, is that worse than CC's pizza? And we're like, yes, it is.
That's a good baseline, but for like $5, we could eat as much pizza as we want and fill us up in high school. So it was perfect. My favorite pizza from them, which I heard an interview, I think it was like a behind the scenes of one day that you guys did filming, I think the top 20 countdown. And somebody said they were getting pasta on their pizza. And it just clicked for me. Macaroni and cheese pizza was my favorite from CC, so I'm taking macaroni and cheese. I don't care. You both can shake your heads, but that's my favorite.
That's
my Mr. Relevant pick.
That's a bold move.
and I just made Jim not want to come play wiffle ball, and
You just ruined everything.
Just
I know.
ruined it all.
It was such a good thing until then.
Well, that's. I mean, mac and cheese that's an off the. I'm gonna say it was not on my draft board. Not in my war room. I didn't have mac and cheese on there.
I was
I
just
don't like the pasta on pizza. Too much carbs.
That's a lot of carbs.
I was just trying to slide my way into the 4th spot in your heel interviews the last month or two ago.
The heel hat trick.
So Jim, I know we kept you a little over time. There was one more thing that we did want to talk a little bit about wrestling because you are a wrestling.
Yes, let's do it.
And I did want to ask you. I went through your Twitter today, so I kind of know the answer. Are you currently WWE or AEW?
I'm AEW now.
Okay, yeah, that's big time.
Do you guys partake in the professional wrestling?
I love. I've been to many events as a kid. Watched The Undertaker early on. It scared the shit out of me because I thought he was, kayfabe. But I do. I love it. I've now recently gotten my kids into it through Pat McAfee because he's on NXT currently. But through all that stuff, my daughters loved it and they've really fallen in love with the women wrestling, which is awesome. So to see them have cool badass role models, you're like, well, that's cool. That's awesome. So we watch that, and I definitely I do both. I do a little bit of WWE, a little bit of AEW, but I love it all.
I went to an indie show the year before AEW, and the first time I saw MJF, I thought, oh my gosh, he's the ultimate heel, and I was cheering for him, and everyone else was booing him, and it was so cool that when AEW launched, MJF was there. And I'm like, yes, he deserves it because he's a future star. He's going to be the Roddy Piper of this generation.
And Roddy Piper is your favorite wrestler of all time.
Yes.
And also great Halloween costume that you had of MJF I saw that on there too. My question was, is that something that you've ever done on an indie level or something that you would want to do someday, do some announcing for wrestling?
I have.
Okay.
So there was an independent in Pittsburgh, and I announced a couple of their shows back in the day.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. How is it is that something that checked off the list or something you're like, man, maybe we'll circle back to that sometime?
I mean, it's checked off the list, but if anyone ever approached me and asked me to announce for professional wrestling, I would do it in a second.
Nice.
Now, the new Jim Ross.
Yeah, the new Jim Ross, dude. The new dude. Could you imagine? Jim Shearer would be the better Jim Ross, but
don't say that.
No, I know, right? No. So my last question, I guess, is between: would you rather announce or would you rather be a manager person or actually wrestle? If you had the opportunity?
We also had a backyard wrestling league in the late 90s.
I think they made a documentary about that.
Jim, if you say you backyard wrestled and went through a table or some signs, I'm gonna say that Dos Equis might need to come get you to be the most interesting man in the world.
So yeah, I never went through a table, but my persona was Dr. Face.
Okay,
Dr. Richard Face.
I love it.
And my finishing move, I would bring out defibrillators and I would shock my opponents, and that's how I would win.
I mean, that's a legit finisher.
So I would pour water on them, and then I would take out the defibrillator paddles, either put it on their temples or put it right over their heart, shock them, and then pin them.
I mean, that's definitely an ender. That's the definitive finisher right there.
It's the ultimate stunner.
For sure. Well, I know. I won't ask any more questions. I don't want to keep you. Jems, was there anything else that you didn't get crossed off on your list?
The one thing I thought was super cool, because I listened to one of your old episodes of your live show, which is in podcast form on the Sirius, which is great. So
Sirius channel 106, by the way.
Volume. It was the Hella Mega not sanctioned or whatever you're calling it. And you said that you interviewed Billy Joe Armstrong after you had gone and seen them at a show, and he remembered picking you out on your honeymoon, bouncing around in the front of the.
Yes,
that's got to be one of the coolest things ever, right?
It was more shocking than anything, because it was 3 or 4 months after the fact. And I said, "Oh, I saw you guys on my honeymoon." And they said, "Yes, in Hershey." I said, "Yeah, like what? Like, how did you know?" And they're like, "We saw you dancing in the back." And then I think it was 7 years after that, I said, "Billy, I want to ask you something. You remember seeing me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know." So he even remembered the story 7 years after the fact. And I said, "Well, how the heck do you remember stuff like that?" And he said he pays attention to where the energy is. And I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Well,
So I mean, it was cool that he remembered me, but just going inside of the mind of a front man who's playing a sold out arena, I was just curious why and how he zoned in on certain things.
Now you have to try to, when they start that tour back up, get front row at the stadium and see if he can zone in on you in a stadium.
And I'll quiz him on it afterwards.
Right.
I'm like, "Billy, what was I doing?"
Yeah, that's so awesome. That's a good way to. I guess that's a good way to end the show. I mean, that you have awesome stories. You are the most interesting man. Jim Shearer is the most interesting man in the world. Point blank, we definitely appreciate the fact that you took your time to come on, talk to us. You're one of my heroes. You're one of the reasons why I do this. I know Jems has loved learning more about you over the last few days, and like you have now 2 super fans. We are giant fans of Jim Shearer. We did talk earlier, and we were wondering if you could end our show, take it out with I guess like you kind of tagline.
Yes. Well, let me just say thank you for having me. I could always come back.
Yes,
you can.
You could always come on my show.
That's a definitely yes.
So it doesn't like have to be this is our last goodbye.
No.
This could be the first step in a lovely relationship.
Well, second step. You've sent me mail, like actual mail.
Yes.
And I've sent you mail.
So this shouldn't be it.
No, definitely not.
So to be continued. But for Tone and Gems, my name is Jim Shearer, and we will see Yinz later.